Hello and welcome again to the Writer Review. This is Eric Carrot Writer, and this week we're going to be taking a look back at the 2005 romantic comedy titled Monster in Law. Now, Monster in Law runs for 1 hour and 42 minutes long. It is directed by Robert Lukatek. It is produced by Chris Bender, J.C. Spink, and Paula Weinstein. The script was done by Anya Kochev. The score was done by David Newman and Rosie. The cinematography by Russell Carpenter. And the editing was done by Scott Hill and Kevin Tent. And the stars of the movie are Jennifer Lopez, Jane Fonda, Michael Vartan, Wanda Sykes, and Elaine Stritch. So, what did I think about this movie? Well, after a 15-year hiatus, Jane Fonda has come back home to, well, that is, to the big screen. But why she chose to be in a crummy Jennifer Lopez romantic comedy, I guess I'll never know. But I digress. I guess she had to swim in low waters to get back that rust she left behind. When she last graced the screen, she co-starred with Robert De Niro in the 1990 romantic comedy Stanley and Iris. But this ripoff of a Meet the Parents movie, she actually, believe it or not, holds her own weight. And it probably may have been better if they would have just simply edited out J-Lo's character as a whole. In other words, Jennifer Lopez was the proverbial elephant in the room, so to speak. But like a fly without a swatter, there's no escaping this overrated diva. So we have Jennifer Lopez as a feeble-minded dog watcher, food caterer. She has multiple jobs. Her character's name is Charlotte Cantillini, who's nauseatingly smitten over a young doctor named Kevin Fields, played by Michael Vartan. And I must say that for a 36-year-old lady, she is giddy like a teenager and probably is in one of the worst performances from her. And knowing Lopez, she should have at least known better. This is a definitive miscast from her. It seemed like the film's fixation is on the build-up in the relationship between Charlotte, or Charlie as she's sometimes called in this movie, and her beau, Kevin. And why is that? I mean, the chemistry by these superficial lovebirds garners non-existency. In fact, the best scenes are when the movie is temporarily not obsessively pandering to bring these two bores together. But things start to pick up when we discover that Kevin has a semi-insane mother named Viola, played by Jane Fields. She was institutionalized for attacking a Britney Spears facsimile. Viola has not been impressed with the girls Sonny Boy's been bringing home, and Charlotte is no exception. She doesn't want her son to get away from her, so she, of course, is going to cook up a plot to bring down the relationship between Charlotte and Kevin. The hatred comes into full force as Kevin announces his engagement to Charlotte. Not fully rectified from her sanity, Viola is determined to destroy Charlotte and avoid them from getting married. And joining her on her quest is her assistant named Ruby, played by Wanda Sykes. And the jokes at JLo's expense are, yes, I do admit they're crude, but at the same time, they're actually quite hilarious. Now, let's go on with the male characters. Or maybe let's not talk too much about the male characters, since the male characters here are just nothing more than vulnerable lapdogs, oblivious to the fact that the women in this universe are the dominant gender. So when Charlotte catches on to her future mother-in-law's wrath, she definitely takes a turn from the giggly, giddy, post-teen, 30-something to becoming a monster herself. I guess to take on a monster, you have to become a monster. Suddenly, this cute girl next door has become more deviant than the person who's trying to bring her and her son down. And one of her evil deeds was during a dinner scene when she placed sleeping pills in Viola's meal. I mean, medicine that could kill her. And her evil schemes are not exactly very practical, and at the same time, they're not very funny. I mean, sure, the giggling middle aged woman was annoying, but the psychopathic bitch she's become makes me convinced that Viola is actually doing the right thing. So, with the battle of two evils, it all grinds down to a predictable finale where everyone's troubles are thrown out the window and everything's forgotten, even though their dastardly deeds is totally unforgivable. So while Violet and Ruby ride off as the kooky anti-heroes who ponder if they did the right thing to sabotage her gullible sons from the clutches of his soon-to-be bipolar fiance. Were they doing the right thing? Or or are they just going to let poor Kevin have to put up living with this unpredictable bitch? I hope that whatever comes out, the best of luck. He's going to need it. So when you think about it, when Fonda and Sykes yak it up on the screen, they actually provide a lot of laughs, especially from the elephant in the room that is J-Lo. And that also includes her humps. Yes, there is a lot of jokes about her fat butt. And you know what? I could sit there all day listening to them joke it off. But when this pairing is on, the pace and the energy of the film actually escalates to full speed ahead. So Viola Fields is in the tradition of evil in-laws, pretty much like the wicked stepmother from Cinderella. It's just a shame that Viola and Ruby have to sludge their way through the vanilla-laden romantic comedy that's been milked a million times before and after. So now that everyone can't stand her, you think that she would get a clue when to step away for a bit? You would think she would, you know, get the full gist that nobody wants her around, right? Not! What we see here is another nauseating, self-absorbed ripoff of a Ben Stiller franchise. The film can't be repaired thanks to the contrived script from Anya Kochev and the wanton performance from Jennifer Lopez. But at least Jane Fonda and Wanda Sykes actually do save it from being absolute garbage. Sure, Fonda has had her share of controversy over the years. Her absence was a long time coming. And yes, she has done a lot of great movies in the past. Sure, she's done her share of stinkers, like this one. But still, I will forgive her. She hasn't been in the acting profession. She hasn't been too much in the public spectrum since 1990. So I'll give her a little leeway. And she does her best, her effort to at least save this film from being utter shit. Wanda Sykes, she is very calculating in her comedic timing. Her one liners will certainly put a smile to your face. And there are some humorous moments. And she really does provide that much needed comic relief. Otherwise, this film would be just a romantic drama instead of a romantic comedy. She does put the comical elements in what could have been just a pure vanilla romantic film. Remember, it's a romantic comedy, so we need comedy. We're not going to get it from Jennifer Lopez. We're not going to get it from Michael Vartan. We'll probably get some from Elaine Stritch as the mother-in-law in here. She has some good scene-stealing moments. But definitely the antidote to prevent this film from being utter trash rather than just semi-trash is from Wanda Sykes. At least she does save this film a little bit, so a big hats off to Miss Sykes. So like I said, Fonda has had her share of controversy, but her absence was a long time coming. Maybe many people have not forgave her for her being vocal about Vietnam War. But let's face it, the Vietnam War ended in 1975. So for people who are still not forgiving her for it, I got 4 words for you. Get over it. I've always wanted to say that. So if it was not for Fonda and Sykes, this romantic comedy would have sunk lower than the lost city of Atlantis. And don't let director Robert Lukatek off the hook. He's just as guilty as he can in this mess of a film. He has done better. And he probably could have done better if he would have casted a better actress to play this role. Why? Sandra Bullock wasn't around? Wasn't Renee Zellweger around, or Charlize Theron? Did it have to be Jennifer Lopez to play the part? Need I say more? So, Robert Lukatek, you should have known better too. I mean, you fared better in films like Win a Date with Tad Hamilton and Legally Blonde, and sure, these are romantic comedies. But at least the storylines behind Tad Hamilton and Legally Blonde were refreshing. I could sit through a romantic comedy. But I want something refreshing. I want something original. I want something that has teeth. This movie only has dentures. And that's a big difference. So, Monster-in-Law definitely lacks the freshness and simply states that J-Lo has truly lost. She's really worn out her welcome. But still, she's going to continue to grace the screen. She's going to continue putting out record albums. And who am I to stop J Lo? But I think it's time for her to just step out of the limelight for a bit, play a supporting role in another kind of movie. Probably break away from typecast. I mean, why do you always have to end up playing a leading character with issues? Can't you play something original? I'm sure you could. I mean, can't you have a don't you have a backbone and stand up and say I just don't want to keep playing these kind of damsels in distress looking for Mr. Right romantic comedy. You've already did that in Angel Eyes. You've already did that in Made in Manhattan. You've done that several other times before. You're just playing the same character with the same similar angle. I mean, mix it up a little bit. Do something original. Do something different. Or just simply step out for a bit and then come back when you're refreshed. It's not hard. I can't really recommend this movie too much. I mean, if you're gonna see it, if you're a Jane Fonda fan, fine. I mean, if you're a Jennifer Lopez fan, okay. Hey, Wanda Sykes, she's in it. She's got some pretty good comedic one-liners that will tickle your funny bone. At least she's in there for that good comic relief. Um, okay, yes, we know that there's gonna be a lot of cliches like you would expect in a romantic comedy, but hey, if it's gonna be cliched, at least have some teeth to go with it. It doesn't have to be die the dots. Sometimes you could go, you could color outside the lines as long as you have something original, something fresh. This doesn't have anything fresh. This is like one of those movies. If you could compare this movie to Ice Cream, you could actually picture it as being vanilla. I mean, this is the type of movie you would probably select almost like as if you were going to Baskin and Robbins and there's like hundreds of exotic flavors and you choose vanilla. This movie is about as vanilla as it could get. It's it doesn't offer anything new. It's wonton. It's dry noodles. And that's why if I was to give a scale out of 10 for this movie, I would have to sadly give Monster in Law a 5. I just really can't recommend this movie. So I guess this ends my ride review. Thank you all for listening in. If you wish to subscribe to my channel, please feel free to do so. If you wish to leave a comment, go right ahead. Just remember, be kind, be courteous, and don't be rude. And I will be back again with another movie review. So until next time, this is Eric Correct Writer saying, keep watching those movies, and I'll see you around. Goodbye.